Welcome to Advocacy Talks, a podcast from the advocacy team at Vision Ireland. Here's what's coming up on this episode.
I think it was something that struck me when I came into Vision Sports firstly. I came in and I thought, I have vision impairment and big into sport and I know loads about this, and it was a lot of learning at the beginning. And one thing I suppose that particularly struck me was around people with acquired vision impairments, and it was something I was very fascinated by, particularly around their engagement with sport and physical activity. So that's what I've decided to look at.
And now, here's Madeleine McNamara.
Hello everybody and welcome to Vision Ireland's Advocacy Talks. It's Madeleine here again, and thank you so much for joining me today. In our last episode, we were highlighting our campaign called Clear Our Paths, which is about raising awareness of the temporary obstacles on our footpaths. And I spoke to the wonderful Deirdre and Roisin, who are service users with Vision Ireland, and they did a great job of kind of highlighting the challenges that temporary obstacles on our footpaths pose. So if you did miss that, please do listen back. It's really well worth a listen. Well, today we're going to be talking all about sport, and particularly about people who have acquired vision loss and their access to sport and how they engage with that. And to help me discuss that, I'm joined by Sean Moyles, who is the physical activity coordinator with Vision Sports Ireland. And just in case he isn't busy enough doing that, he's also undertaking a master's degree, and we're going to talk about the research that he's doing as part of that. So hello, Sean, and welcome so much to Advocacy Talks.
Thanks so much, Madeleine. Really looking forward to our chat, and it's great to be on. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Really good to have you on the show. And really, just to kick off, I just thought maybe you might tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up working in Vision Sports.
Yeah. So I suppose a bit of a background to myself. So I have vision impairment myself. I have albinism and also have an nystagmus with that. I would say, I suppose, I have quite a useful level of vision, but I suppose it's my sensitivities, particularly with glare and light outdoors, would be quite challenging. And then obviously with the kind of fine detail in the distance. I don't know, for example, on a chart, maybe I'd get 3 lines or something like that, but I wouldn't be getting much past that. Mm-hmm. But I suppose it's I suppose that was kind of, I suppose, my start in life was I was born with that as a congenital vision impairment. Yeah. And then I always was like absolutely mad into sport, and particularly I absolutely love soccer. I'm an avid Aston Villa fan.
Fantastic.
But as well, we'd be a very, I suppose, our household, my mum and dad were quite young parents, and both played lots of sport growing up themselves, and were big about it as a key part within our household. And I think, I suppose, growing up, it was I found initially some of the team sports quite challenging, and it was hard. I suppose you're trying to keep up with your peers as they start to progress, and maybe their fundamental movement skills are getting a bit ahead of yours, and their skill development and things, and it can be a little bit challenging. But I suppose particularly for me, I had 2 things that I think really helped me. One was I had a local club that put a lot of time into me and helped me with developing my fundamental movement skills, particularly on skipping and hopping and jumping and running. And then I suppose the other part was from my father. He was a soccer coach and got me into doing my soccer coaching badges from a young age. And I started coaching my club teams at home in Mayo.
And what age would you have been when you were doing that?
I was probably about maybe 15 or 16.
Oh, fantastic. So, and at that point then, were you still able to play soccer in a regular team, or?
Yeah, I was still playing, not like just kind of recreationally. It was on like kind of local teams and stuff like that, and play a lot of kind of five-a-sides indoors, especially because it was that bit easier with the lack of glare and lack of light outdoors. But I suppose it was that was kind of a big part for me, in that I think that level of understanding what I was actually supposed to be doing, and the spaces that need to be between me and other players and things like that in my position.
What position did you play?
I played as a defensive midfielder.
Not that I know what that means, but people listening may have a good understanding of soccer.
Absolutely.
But did you find that other team members, though, had to be more aware of your, obviously you had to know where you needed to be in order to receive the ball or whatever, but did they have to be aware as well in order to?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of understanding there, I suppose, as well too. It was I would always ask, and I suppose I was very upfront about, that I didn't have the best level of vision, but I would always ask that to give me a shout or give me a call my name or the number before the ball came to me. Just gives me that extra kind of, in case I missed it, that the pass that was coming towards me, that I had that, I suppose, extra cue. And everyone around home was always fantastic with it. And I was lucky enough, I was able to continue playing. I played all the way up through college. I eventually went on to do, I suppose, initially my undergrad was in sports science and exercise physiology in Athlone in Technological University of Shannon. And I played soccer all through that time there, and continued coaching. Started doing coaching badges in the GA as well at the time.
Wow.
And I think all of that kind of stuff was what kind of instilled that love for it for me. And I think those, whether it be the fact that I got the, that early kind of piece of engagement in developing some of my fundamental movement skills to help me, and also that kind of understanding piece that gave me then the confidence to be able to continue to stay involved and stay playing soccer. And I suppose that was a massive piece for me. I continue to still play, I suppose, recreation level soccer every now and again. And
very good.
I'm also a coach with Shelburne. So I coach under 12s and under 16s. And I'm also a strength and conditioning and performance coach with the League of Ireland teams for the under 17s and under 19s.
Wow.
So I love it, and I love the engagement that I get to have with it. I suppose a big part of then, I suppose, that was, the love for it, and that was always a big part of it. And then also the piece of, how do I find my way with that piece of having a vision impairment in sport, and how do I get myself to a point where I can be best involved and staying active and getting all the amazing benefits that you get from sport and physical activity. I think one of the biggest things for me as well, whilst I was in college, was the Gerard Byrne Award from the NCBI. So I was lucky enough to be one of the recipients of that award for my final 2 years, so third and fourth year when I was in college. And I suppose it was through that I met some of the guys that work with Vision Ireland. I met Kevin Kelly initially for the first time there, and I met Chris White and Erin Milanoff and Christina Miller. And I think they were massive for me, I suppose, and it was me seeing this is what I'm doing in sport and continue on. And when I came out of college, and I was literally, I suppose, looking to get involved in something in sport, Christina was one of the first people that I messaged, and she connected me with Padraig Healy, who is the National Sports Development Manager with Vision Sports Ireland, who I'm lucky enough to be involved with now. I think that initial introduction was great, and I was lucky enough. I came on, I suppose, aboard initially as a research assistant. I then came on, I suppose, like a graduate kind of basis then for another year after that. And then progressed to now having a role as a physical activity coordinator with them. And I think that's something I'm obviously really, really passionate about. I suppose in our house alone, there's 5 kids.
Wow.
and 3 of them having vision impairments, 2 of them don't have vision impairments, and so it was a busy household.
Yeah, it would have
But
been, absolutely.
it was something that obviously helping and trying to improve the lives of people with vision impairments is something that I'm obviously really passionate about, and I think sport and physical activity is one of the ways in which we can do that. I think that's what kind of led me to this point here of working with
Yeah.
vision sports, and I hope that answered the question. I think I would.
No, absolutely
Continue to.
brilliant. I mean,
Yeah,
it's an amazing story, and I think it really does, help to highlight that, with the right supports and the right sort of level of understanding and coaching, it is possible for people with,
yeah,
because that level of sight you have is very limited. It's sort of
yeah,
similar to the level I would have,
yeah,
by the sounds of it. And it's great to hear that, I guess because because your dad was involved and with those connections, that probably was very helpful. But that if that's possible for you, it's possible for other people.
absolutely.
And I know that's what Vision Sports Ireland is really working to do, is to make that possible for everybody, and which is so amazing. So as you were saying, yourself and myself actually both have what we call congenital sight loss, which is, we've had it since birth.
Hmm.
Whereas part of your research that you're doing is so you're coaching and you're working full time and you're also doing a master's degree. So you're kind of a bit of a busy beaver, really.
Yeah, I love to keep myself busy.
So tell us a bit about the research that you're doing as part of that degree.
Yeah, so I suppose I made a decision last year that I was going to go back and look at a master's. I was really interested in, I suppose, learning more about the area that I had been working in. I had came from, I suppose, as I said, that more kind of sports science, exercise physiology kind of background, and maybe knew more when it came to, I suppose, elite sports and testing and how to make the body, as high performing as possible, and how all those kind of parts can play into it. I suppose I wasn't as upskilled in the research that was out there around vision impairment, and around I suppose activity levels and engagement in sport and physical activity. So I went back and I decided this was something I was going to pursue. As part of that, I looked into lots of different masters, and I landed on one which was the Masters in Elite Sport Performance in DCU. And I suppose the name of that might sound like it's still elite performance sport, but it's really not. I suppose it's about, and the way that the course coordinators and lecturers would speak about it is it's about being, finding the elite level in your specific domain. And
so is it kind of like sort of saying how to find your best? So whatever level your best would be, it's about finding that, is it? Whether some people are going to be able to be professionals, but most of us are just going to be amateurs doing what we want. And is it about kind of enabling everyone to reach their potential, I suppose?
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose it's about getting to an elite level of understanding in your specific field. So I suppose with me, it being that trying to understand as best as possible where the current research is, what are the barriers and facilitators, and what are the, I suppose, current models that have existed, either in mainstream populations, in disability populations, or in other countries that have been trialed specifically within vision impairment.
Okay.
I suppose one piece within that then that I was particularly interested in, and was something I think it was something that struck me when I came into vision sports first. I like to say, I came in and I thought, I have vision impairment and big into sport, and I'll know loads about this, and I'm definitely not afraid to say I knew absolutely nothing. But which it was a lot of learning at the beginning, and one thing I suppose that particularly struck me was around people with acquired vision impairments, and it was something I was very fascinated by, particularly around their engagement with sport and physical activity. So that's what I've decided to look at. I decided to look at.
So just to clarify for people, acquired is where people have, as it says in the name, got a vision impairment at a later stage in life. So not born with it, really. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. So, and that might be, a number of different conditions that may have onset later. It could be anywhere from a young age all the way up into kind of older adult populations.
Yeah.
And I suppose as part of that, so I kind of went into this piece of experiences and perceptions of people with acquired vision impairments in engaging in sport and physical activity. And I looked at that kind of particularly from a lens of a concept called physical literacy.
Okay.
And I suppose physical literacy in Ireland, we're lucky enough that we have our own consensus statement around physical literacy, which is one of the first countries in the world to have it. And I suppose what it essentially is it's the it's kind of three main areas. So it's the physical competence, which is, I suppose, the ability to perform a skill, whether it be a hop, jump, throw, skip. It's the motivation and confidence to be able to do that skill.
Yeah.
And then it's also the knowledge and understanding. So it's how all of those kind of three areas, that motivation, confidence, knowledge, understanding, and physical competence, come together to make someone be able to, effectively perform a skill or an action or get involved in sport and physical activity.
Okay.
And I found that fascinating. I just think it resonated so much with me from my experiences from a young age, like that piece where I said, I kind of got a little bit of help in terms of my fundamental movement skills and helped develop them at a young age. I think that was the competence piece. I think the coaching and engagement in sport was that understanding piece, and definitely continuing on then into the education and research side of it. And then also, I think maybe the motivation and confidence might have been the one for me that never really faltered. I was always maybe overconfident in thinking that I was well able for doing these things. And but yeah, I think that's why I was so. I think that's why I was so interested in that area of study. I think that's something that has been used to great success in recent years in mainstream populations and other disability populations, but maybe isn't looked at as strongly in terms of the blind and vision impaired populations. So I suppose we're right in the middle of it at the moment. So I can't make any.
You can't tell us what the findings are yet. No.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious. To think. Because I'm just in my own mind. I'm thinking. Presumably, someone might have had good physical literacy before they lost their sight.
Absolutely.
And then, that's kind of all gone, maybe. Or other people who maybe weren't sporty at all, and then, lose their sight and maybe trying to find things to do and get back in and then do sport. So I suppose it's maybe going to be different, isn't it, for different people?
Exactly. And I suppose it's so fascinating, I suppose, just to see, especially at that point of diagnosis for someone who is losing their vision. I suppose one of the key parts I'm trying to see is, is it that piece of knowledge and understanding is lacking in terms of what we can engage with, in terms of maybe it's different adapted sports, maybe it's getting ourselves on a pathway where we get into a vision sports program and then move into a mainstream program. Maybe it's the motivation, confidence, and maybe because the vision loss, it's something that we then struggle with. Maybe it's purely a skill piece and it's physical competence. But whatever it comes back and whatever we look to move forward with across the next, I suppose, coming years, it's going to be fascinating, and it's something that I hope we can use the research to really help inform, I suppose, where we go as an organization, and hopefully where we can help as many people as possible who are blind or vision impaired and get involved in sport and physical activity.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're always being told, and it's well known that the benefits of sort of daily activity, whether that be a physically benefits, but also the emotional and mental health benefits as well, I think are so powerful, aren't they? And I think it's
100%.
just so important to give people that opportunity to be part of that. And as you
Yep.
say, knowledge is so important, because if people don't know what's available, then they can't partake of it. So, it's going to be a key thing. I was kind of interested in, some people might have been involved in one sport. And I know, speaking to somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they had been, say, I don't know whether it was tennis or something, and they had played tennis as a sighted person.
Yep.
But then, even though there is adapted tennis, they didn't want to do it, because they had been good at it as a sighted person. It was something that they didn't want to do, in a different way, having lost their
Yeah.
sight. But then for other people, they might want to still be able to do the sport they love. But I suppose it's maybe for that person or for other people trying to sort of identify other sports. It might be, the chance
100%.
to try something new,
Yeah.
which I think is interesting.
Absolutely. And like, there's so, I suppose there's so many different sports out there, and everyone has, like, in our house alone at home,
Mm,
there's 5 kids, everyone is into something different, whether it be soccer or rugby or Gaelic or
mm,
rowing or athletics. Everyone is into something different.
yeah.
And it's so often, I suppose, we can have that bit of a fear of, I suppose, what is it going to be like going back now, that I,
Mm,
that I have less vision, or no vision. And
mm,
I suppose that is a piece of the motivation and confidence, and something that we will look to challenge, as time goes on, in terms of, I suppose, increasing people's, motivation and confidence, or knowledge and understanding, whatever that may happen to be.
yeah.
Like, I know as well, when you mentioned a moment ago about, like, how important it is, for us all to be, I suppose, physically active and engaging. Like, the numbers currently for people who are blind or vision impaired are quite low. Like,
Mm,
I know it's 1 in 10 adults who are blind or vision impaired, and 1 in 5 children,
wow.
that are meeting our, the World Health Organization's physical activity guidelines.
Yeah.
And like, that's leaving them at a greater risk of poor health or reduced motor
Mm,
skills, or social isolation. And like, there's so many parts that come with sport and physical activity.
yeah.
And we want to see those numbers improve. We want to make these as the bridges and the pathways to people being able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, you're doing fantastic work there in Vision Sports with all of the different kind of avenues that you're following, really, to make that possible, whether it be through the kind of, adapted sports, such as, the blind tennis, or I was going to say golf, but she isn't, well, it's kind of adapted, but not adapted, isn't it? You're still
Yeah,
playing golf the same way, but you just maybe need a bit of support
yeah, it's
with
having
it,
that guide. And like, there's so
Mm,
many different parts that go into, like, every sport is going to be different in terms of
mm,
what someone who is blind or vision impaired requires and needs. And
yeah.
we're lucky enough in Vision Sports that we have some fantastic collaborations with lots of different national governing bodies. So whether it be the FAI and our blind football and kind of vision impaired soccer, or futsal groups,
Mm,
or whether it be Golf Ireland, who are out and helping us set up different programs and different resources currently,
mm,
for sighted guides and people getting out and getting into golf, or whether it's our tennis or swimming or athletics. These are all different adaptations in every one, but it's made possible, I suppose, both by all of my colleagues in Vision Sports, but also all of the different people that we collaborate with in those national governing bodies and local sports partnerships, and all those different groups. And even there's a particularly great hub down in Portlaoise, and it's all made possible by the VIP hub down there, and they're
ah,
coordinator, Tracy Percy, who's fantastic as well.
Yes, I'm always seeing stuff on your newsletter in Portlaoise. I'm going, God, Portlaoise, I should be in Portlaoise. There's loads going on there.
Yeah.
How can I get some of that where I am?
it's the first of its kind. So it is that hub model, and Tracy is fantastic. And I suppose we have such a great array of different sports available down there as a result. And I suppose that's part of a collaboration with ourselves, all the governing bodies, the local sports partnership down there in Laois, and that VIP hub. And Tracy who initially was just a volunteer, who gave up so much time and put so much work into establishing. And we'd love to have more. We try and run programs all across the country, and me as a proud man from the West in Mayo, it's great. Like I want to see programs all across the country, but it's, I suppose, how can we embed them and get people in the different clubs that are already existing out there to take part, become upskilled with the knowledge and understanding to how to coach and work with someone who is blind or vision impaired, to be able to go out and establish them programs in their counties and in their countries. Like I know the tennis is loads of different programs all across the country, and similar with we've lots of swimming programs all across the country, but we're slowly, I suppose, getting buy-in from all those different coaches and getting them upskilled, and hopefully that will continue, particularly with our new upcoming strategic plan and strategic cycle. I think it's going to be great, and we'll be able to push towards getting people upskilled in their communities, and hopefully getting more people into sport and physical activity.
Absolutely, it'll be exciting to see what the future holds. And as you say, there's so much going on already, but it can only improve. And it is fantastic, all the work that you're doing there. Just, I suppose, going back to the research, your survey, you're doing a survey trying to get sort of information, I suppose, from people with acquired blindness or vision impairment, and that survey is still open, I believe, is it?
It is still open, yeah. So I suppose we're going to, our plan with the survey, it's the first part of a 2-part piece of research. So we're initially going to work with the survey, and our aim is to try and get as close to 100 participants in that survey as possible. I'm currently at 43, so we're if this, as many as possible that are listening today.
Yes, come on, people, fill in your survey. And how could people do that? How can people access the survey if they want to complete it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's available on our website currently. It also goes out in our newsletter and across our socials. If you're following any of the Vision Sports,
and your website would be what? Vision? What is it? Vision Sports?
Visionsports.ie.
Yeah, visionsports.ie.
That's correct.
Yeah. So visionsports.ie. It's nice and easy to remember, hopefully, that one.
And it's in there. It's under the news and events tab, and it's under. You can click on it under news, and it comes up there for you as well. I suppose if anyone is here and they are interested, and you're looking for the link, or you haven't been able to find it, my email address is sean.moyles@visionsports.ie, and the Moyles is Moyles. So anyone that wants to email me, I'm absolutely more than happy to answer any questions or send across links, or send you any information that you'd like about it, or if you're maybe not sure if you're eligible, or that I suppose it's open to adults aged 18 to 64 is one key piece for it, and it's for acquired vision impairment. So that's any kind of condition which has onset at a certain point, whether that be at childhood, teenage years, or adulthood, or as we age into older adult kind of ages, that 18 to 64.
Oh, fantastic. So hopefully now we're going to get loads now of new responses following this amazing chat that we've had. And, I think when people can really hear the the kind of difference it can make, because it's going to give you the information, hopefully, to make it, more improvements in access to getting people out there and moving, which is what we want.
Absolutely.
So please do complete that survey if you can. I would complete it, but I can't. Sorry, I don't qualify.
Yeah.
So yeah, over to everybody else, but also just if people are on the website, and they can also sign up for your newsletter and all of those things, because again, information is power.
Yeah, 100%. So I suppose if you are interested in that, I suppose the first thing I would say to you is on our homepage we have a become a member button. If you sign up to become a member, you'll also be added to. You can click to be added to the newsletter. And then it's also, if there's a bar across the top, you can click support us, and under there's also another button to become a member. Either way, it'll bring you there, but it's just
and becoming a member is free, isn't it? There's no charge or anything.
Free, yeah. No charge. Yeah.
So that's good. We always like free. That's always good.
Yeah, 100%. But I suppose it just means you'll get the information, and I suppose be kept in the loop about what we're doing and what's happening all across the country of Ireland for that month.
Oh, fantastic. No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, Sean. It's been so interesting talking to you today. Really fascinating to hear about, all your sporting abilities and achievements. It's wonderful. And, you're doing fantastic work there with everything you're doing in Vision Sports Ireland. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Well, that's us for today. But if, you want to, obviously, we mentioned the visionsports.ie website there. But if you want any support or anything from Vision Ireland, you can always log on to our website, which is www.vi.ie, or you can call our information line at 1800 911 250. Lovely chatting to you today, and we'll hopefully you'll tune into us next month. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Advocacy Talks. To get in touch with our advocacy team, send us an email to campaigns@vi.ie. Or why not join one of our local advocacy networks, where you can work together with others to solve some of the biggest problems facing blind and partially sighted people in Ireland. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.